This is the B Podcast, and I'm your host, Bria Villa. Hey y'all, welcome back to the B Podcast. I'm your host, Bria Villa, and I can't even say I'm excited. I'm elated. I am over the moon. I am so happy about this podcast guest because this is the person who actually pushed me to start this podcast. And this woman is an inspiration to me. She's someone that I knew about before even meeting her. And she is a light in my life. She's become a true friend of mine and someone that I admire in every aspect in which she, every space that she walks into, I admire who she is in those spaces. She's an inspiration to so many women. She's an actress. She's a comedian. She's a podcaster. She's an entrepreneur. She's a hustler. She's a boss. And I am so excited to introduce none other than the, emphasis on the, B Simone.
That was such a good intro, friend.
Was it?
What? I gotta start taking you with me places.
Okay.
We were like, what's your name? Who are you? I'm gonna be like,
Bria got it. Let me pass it to her.
Oh, thank you.
Is there anything you would add to that?
No, not at all. That's what I do. And yeah, I'm that girl.
That girl. She is that girl, for real. I'm so excited to have her because we're gonna talk about a few things.
Yeah,
today.
I'm excited.
This topic is actually really important to me because I've spent the last 4 years of.
And hold on,
What?
I know this is your show, but can I just bring it back around to the fact that we're giving you your flowers? You really did it.
I really did it.
Like, what? You really just started a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, you did it. You took the leap of faith and you did it.
You pushed me.
I know, but you did it. You have to choose.
Yeah, true.
Like, God pushes us every day. People push us every day. Things, signs, all the things, but we still have to choose.
Yep, sure
to,
do.
you did it. I'm proud of you. This is so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, right? We're podcasters.
We are. I'm like, and it's wild because we were just sitting here and I was like, in March, we were sitting on a couch together and she looks at me and she's like, after having a 4-hour conversation, she looks at me and she's like, Bria, I think you need to start a podcast.
Yep.
And I looked at her, I said, girl, don't play with me. I think that's
Yeah.
literally the first thing.
He's like, stop.
I was like, don't even say that. And she was like, no, I really think you need to.
I'm like, yeah, because everybody don't need a mic. We know that. But like people with purpose behind their voice and passion and just information and your experiences and your outlook on life, I think it's so positive and it's something to offer the world. So I was like, yeah, your voice is like bomb.
No, I mean, I'm very thankful that you saw it in me, but I also think your words hold so much more weight to me just because of who you are, what you've overcome, and how you've continued to show up.
Thank you.
I've had people in my life plant the seed of you should start a podcast. Like some of my best friends have been telling me this for years, but I think your voice really pushed it over the edge of if someone who is this successful, someone that I admire, someone who's done this and done it well and done it in a way that I appreciate, because I don't like all podcasts.
For sure.
So you saying it with all that being said, really held a deeper weight to me.
Aww.
So on that note, the B is for B mother effing Simone. Oh
I'm like, who is Solange? Who's that? Sylvester Stallone.
Okay, Rocky, please, we're done. We are done. Okay, we gotta edit that out.
No, we don't. Stop.
I wanted to really say the F word, so I was thinking more about the F word.
Try not to cuss. I get it.
Yeah, B Simone. The B is for B
Simone.
But the B is also for boss.
Boss.
Because you are a damn boss.
Am I?
Yes, you are. So are.
Thank you.
And I feel like there's not enough of an emphasis on the glass ceilings that you've broken. And so I really want to spend time talking about that today, because for those of y'all who don't know, the last 4 years I've spent doing DEI consulting. So literally what I look at is industries and who the majority is in the industry and who the minority is in the industry and what barriers the minorities face in order to advance and excel in their careers.
Okay.
So I look at the barriers that women face in certain industries, the barriers that people of color face, the barriers of people with disabilities, the barriers of people in the LGBTQ community, you name it.
Okay.
And so I've studied this, learned this, and taught about this for the last 4 years. And that's why this topic is so important to me, is because you are a woman in an industry that is not only historically pretty much always been men.
Yep.
But also at this day and age is still very dominated by men. Being a comedian, stand-up comedy is 90% men.
Nuts.
Stand-up comedy is such a male-dominated industry, and it is so hard to be successful as a stand-up comedian. And you've seen how certain women stand-up comedians have had their careers taken, simply because of their take, perspective, and humor as a woman.
Yeah, and you still hear it like, oh, you're so funny for a girl. Or like it's like,
and that is the most
it's like you're so dang. I usually don't laugh at girls, but you're funny. Or like I'm like, okay.
How often do you feel like you hear that?
A lot, but I take it more as a positive. I'm like, I do. I don't get offended. I'm not easily offended though. Like a lot doesn't bother me, and that's a good and a bad thing, because it's like you let too much roll off. Like you let people treat you like shit. Excuse me, like working on my cousin, but letting people, so there's a balance. But hearing that, I'm like, okay, I'm funny. Like it's almost like, and I'm going back to validation, like seeking the validation. It's like, oh, you validated me, even though it was a backhand compliment and underlying, like, oh, you're funny for a woman. It was still validation for me.
Yeah.
So
it's hearing that you're funny.
It's hearing that I'm funny.
And that you're doing well in your lane.
But I hear it a lot though.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. With being in comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But then in addition, just the entertainment industry in general. I have some stats.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull them up. Because I think it's very, very, very interesting.
Wow.
So, film industry.
Okay.
Only 18, and you love directing.
Love
directing.
Like that's like my next thing.
Like thrives in directing. So like
I
the
love
last
it.
thing that we did for the LTTA app.
Yeah. It's coming. Oh my God.
Y'all better tune in.
Yeah.
She loves directing. I see
it.
her like get in her flow when she's directing. Only 18% of directors are women.
Wow.
Only 18.
Wow.
Okay. Only 25% of writers are women. Only 33% of producers of top grossing films in 2023 were women. And women-owned companies only get 2% of venture capital funding out of all the money spent on investments in new businesses.
That's nuts.
So you being a woman entrepreneur,
the odds are already against me.
The odds are already only 2% of venture capital funding.
Wow.
Do you know how much goes into venture capital funding?
Wow.
Billions.
Wow.
So 2% is like in the millions space. So it is already hard.
That is nuts.
When the industry exists the way that it does.
Yeah.
And then there was another stat. Women in the entertainment industry, 64% of them report having higher levels of gender bias and sexual harassment.
I'm sure.
84% of them say that they're treated differently because of their gender.
Wow.
84%. So think of that small number.
Wow.
Let's say like only the 33% that are in production. The vast majority of them say that they're treated differently because of their gender.
Wow.
Which is wild. Representation in stand-up. Women are still underrepresented in live comedy, with men dominating lineup at major venues. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, men have to be the headliner in order for a woman
to be on the show. Nuts.
Wild. So,
nuts.
Knowing that there's statistics behind this. This ain't just hearsay that we're talking about.
This is real. I didn't even know all of that.
It's already hard to start any business, to be successful in anything.
Yeah.
But then add on top of that, you're starting the race further behind.
Yeah.
The starting line is further back. How do you feel like you've navigated being in comedy, being an entrepreneur, being a mogul with your own authentic voice? And do you feel like you have to navigate differently?
You know what? I would say that the rooms I walk in, I take pride in feeling like I'm an asset in those rooms.
Period.
So, like, even with my comedy, as you're talking, I'm going back. I'm thinking so I can answer this question. Like, has there been a moment where I felt like this? Or has there been a moment where I feel like I didn't get that job because I'm a woman? Or has there been, if it has happened, I will say it hasn't happened in my face.
Okay.
So I haven't felt it. I haven't felt it as much. But also, there was a time where I'm like, I'm viral. I'm popping. I'm the it girl on the internet. So it was like, yeah, come over here, B Simone.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Because you're objectively funny.
Because you're objectively
It's not subjective. Funny. You're objectively funny.
And I'm sure there's been, I'm sure. I'm going back to like a few moments that I've been on stage with people that don't feel like I need to be there. And not, I wouldn't just say because I'm a woman, just, oh, she's not funny, or she's an Instagram girl. She didn't do the groundwork like the OGs.
She didn't come up the way the rest of us came up.
She's a social media funny. No, I'm opening up for Martin Lawrence, and he gave me my flowers, and he's a legend, and the crowd laughed. So whether I'm doing backflips, whether I'm twerking, whatever I'm doing, if the audience is laughing, that is the goal of a stand-up comic. Now, do you have to perfect the skill of stand-up? Yes. I know I can be funny with my homies, and we have inside jokes, we can laugh. Yeah. But to perfect the skill of stand-up comedy and have an hour special, and for it to be special, I'm studying that. Yeah. I don't feel like, I could put out a special next year. For me, I'm not there yet. So like there is stuff I have to study to get to where I want to be, but I feel like I'm an asset. I feel like I show up as my true authentic self, and I'm learning to give myself my flowers more and say it out loud, but my vulnerability is my superpower. Like, however I feel, like even when you were on my pod and we had that moment, and I was like, no, like I'm saying this on camera. Yeah. Like I'm not going to say it all on camera, but I'm going to let them know there's an issue. I'm not going to wipe my tears and be like, welcome back to the Let's Try This Again podcast. No. My vulnerability is my superpower. So any room I'm in, being my authentic self and being vulnerable, I think people gravitate towards that. And it's allowed me to flourish in these spaces. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I can see it and I can feel it.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a part of entertainment.
Yep.
Is the entertainment industry. And I haven't necessarily been in it, but I've seen it, especially living in LA. Like, you just see a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. And I've seen how people show up. Yeah. I've seen their heart posture. Yeah. I've seen
the facades. The motives.
Yes, 100%.
It's sick.
For sure.
And on the opposite side of that, I'm not going to ever say 100%. No, every single day of my life, I have walked into a room and been off. I'm not going to say that. Yeah. 99% of the time, though, I don't feel like I have to conform to who's in the room. If I walk into a room with Jay-Z and it's somebody different, or Beyonce, I might fan out over Beyonce. I've never seen her in person. But
B is for
Beyonce. I'm probably still going to be like, I love you, bitch. Yeah. I'm going to freak out and be weird. And I'm not going to be like, hi, like, oh, I'm such a fan. I'm not going to change who I am to my core. Like, they're going to see the goofy B Simone in one way, shape, or form. Sure. Is there a time and a place for everything? Yes. But I feel like I show up as my true authentic self, whether I'm at church, whether I'm at the house, whether I'm at, it might be scaled down a little bit at church, but they going to laugh at church too. You know what I mean? So I think that's my superpower, and it's allowed me to excel in these spaces, and it's allowed me to get to where I'm at.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Your vulnerability is a strength.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, men are not vulnerable to the level that you are.
Yeah.
So it's a strength.
Yeah.
Because it's also the personification of your womanhood.
Yeah, that's good.
It's very rare that you see comedians or TV personalities, especially if they're men, be as vulnerable as you've been.
True.
And I think, not saying that men can't be vulnerable, so please do not cancel.
Yeah, don't. Okay? Yeah, like, don't start there.
For the love of God,
she didn't say that.
Some cool men sitting behind these cameras right now. They've been vulnerable with me. I like them. Yeah, we good. Okay.
Yeah.
But I will say that oftentimes, and this is society. This is like, and I'm sure the men would agree with this. That whole toxic masculinity. Don't show that you're weak, etc., etc. a lot of that has been ingrained in how we expect people to show up. And I think if a man is being soft and vulnerable, he's weak.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a differentiator for
Mm-hmm.
you, especially in this space, is the fact that you are able to do that and it's genuine. And not a lot of people who are in the industry that you're in do that and do it well.
Yeah. And I feel like, guys, when you show up as your true, authentic self and you're not like the motive, like, I will never forget this comedian. My brain is all over the place. So I want to comment on that. But this comedian is a big comedian. He's a big OG. I'm not going to say his name. He mentioned me on a podcast and was like, I heard B Simone was sucking dick to get to the top. I was like, well, whose did I suck? Because I'm still struggling. So I'm sucking the wrong one. Please give me another chance to suck it. Like, no, seriously. It's like, I was like, I'm an idiot then. Because, babe, I am
clearly who was I with? And what was I doing?
And they didn't take me far enough. I want my head back.
Right.
So I'm saying that to say.
That's so frustrating, though.
It is.
I really.
But, like, when it's like, whatever you answer to, it's like you're offended by that and you feel like something in you is that. I don't worry about that. But I said that to say, when you're your true authentic self and there's no other motive, like I'm going back to being around these men. I'm not trying to fuck you. I'm not trying to be around. Like, there's no, I done got some bodies. I done got, my 20s was lit now. But I did it because I liked you. Not because you had money. I should have been fucking with niggas for money. And maybe I'll be a little further. I was dealing with broke niggas because I liked them.
Like,
stupid.
Like, damn.
Stupid. But I said that to say, let me bring it back, Braylon. Men can feel that. People can feel that. So when you're showing up as your true, authentic, goofy, whoever, even if you're not goofy, if you're timid, but you're being yourself, if you're shy, but you're being yourself, if you're ambitious, whatever you are, whoever you are in your natural element, like how you are at your house in your most vulnerable state, you show up like that in public, people can receive that. Absolutely. And they feel that. So I feel like I've built great relationships with the opposite sex, with men, platonic relationships. Absolutely. To the point where I can be myself in these spaces and they call me AB, I'm writing. Like, they hit me up for stuff. We have that relationship to where I don't feel like I'm counted out.
For sure.
But once again, if I haven't experienced it to my face. Yeah. So if they're having these conversations behind closed doors and without me in the room, it could be happening, but I don't feel it. You know?
I mean, that's a blessing.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
That's a blessing that you don't feel it. I mean, I think, typical comments that are made, especially with successful women, it's like, oh, well, she must have slept her way to the top. For sure. But I do think, especially in the interactions that I've seen, the rooms that you've been in, the elbows that you've rubbed, I feel like, or like, whatever, you've rubbed elbows with people.
The elbows that you've rubbed.
She was not going up to people and rubbing elbows. Like, let me feel this real quick. But I do think that you're very well respected.
Thank
and I
you.
think it's because of the authenticity.
Yeah.
Like, it is very clear that your intentions are not to do whatever to make some money or do whatever to get to the top. You're like, if I get to the top being who I am,
it's the greatest gift. Then
that's right.
That's right.
But if I get to the top not being who I am, I know you and I know your heart, and that would never sit right with you. Yeah. Or like, I don't even think that you would ever like lean in that way, because that's just not the type of person that you are. You do everything with integrity. Yeah. From what I've seen.
Thank you.
I mean,
I
know you well enough now.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's not easy to navigate though. And I feel like we both, because me included, I have my entire life had really good close relationships with men. Yeah, same. And I've also had women who have really done a number on me and truthfully, like, were some of my biggest ops. Yep. And hurt me, and I've gone through a lot of therapy because of it. Hurt me in ways that men have never hurt me. Yep. And so I don't really like the full separation of gender. So that's really not what I'm trying to get at. For sure. But I do think...
But the stats are there. You get what I'm saying? Like,
systemic...
It's real. Yeah.
It really is, and we can't ignore it. And I think it's how you learn to navigate it. Knowing that those barriers exist. Yeah. But I think especially for, like, young entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Whether you are an entrepreneur or a comedian, you're trying to get into entertainment, no matter what gender you are, like I want you to keep this in mind as you answer this question. If you feel like you're the only, if you feel like you're one of the few, like what advice would you give to someone who you feel like is trying to get things off the ground but doesn't always feel like seen or heard in the spaces that they're trying to step into?
I've gone through that, like going back to, I don't want to take it back to the gender thing, but me being so cool in my true authentic self and being open and not always walking in my feminine or being like kind of the quiet girl. I'm like the loud, rambunctious ghetto. I feel like I put myself in a box before guys can put me in the box of like, she's the homie, she's the sis.
I feel that way too.
So it's like, I think it's also a defense mechanism, so I can put myself in this box before you reject me on a romantic level. So like, if I do like you, I'm still going to come in and be like okay, homie. Yeah. I'm like, cool. Like, oh no, we don't like each other. I'm his sis. Yeah. Like, you just don't want to be rejected. You know what I mean? So
that's fair. I feel like I did that with guy friends because I wanted to feel validated by men because I never was.
Wow.
So to me, it was the opposite. It's like not a fear of rejection. To me, it was like, I have a lot of guy friends and I want to show that I can be the cool homegirl, whatever, because I want to feel validated by them. Yeah. And I think now I don't seek that validation the way that I used to, and I'm like
I'm working on that too. Yeah.
To know now, but looking back, for sure, I was such a pick me girl.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I'll own it. Like I definitely was doing some pick me shit.
Yeah,
but that was years ago.
Yeah,
like I'm not the same person anymore. Yeah. But that was a immature version of me who didn't understand her own worth and was definitely like. Like, I'm cool. Like, you want to be my friend. Yeah. Like, I'm the cool girl. But at the end of the day, like, as soon as I really started to understand myself, I was like, I don't need any of y'all's validation. Like, if anything, I don't even know why I was doing that with y'all. And, like, there's a lot of embarrassment and shame that comes with that.
For sure.
And I worry about, like, when I start doing this and start talking about things and talk about things with the new mindset that I have, I don't want the people from the past who know the old me to be like, that's not who she is. She's a hypocrite. But the reality is I'm not
that person anymore. Yep.
And, like, maybe you're right. Maybe I was doing dumb shit like that like years ago.
Yeah.
But that's not who I am today.
Yeah, I love that.
And I feel like, to your point of like fear of rejection, I think how we show up in rooms is often at the level in which we've healed and know ourselves.
That's good.
And I feel like you have showed up vulnerably, especially in this season.
Yeah.
Because you've healed and know yourself more.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Braylon 5 years ago would
do that,
said the things that you're saying now and talked about the things that you're talking about now and showed up on camera the way that you're showing up
for
now.
Sure. That's good. And to your point, like, well, it's not to your point, but to answer your question, going back to that, like,
yeah, the advice. Sorry, my brain.
Yeah. No, mine too. I went off, but I was saying that to say, like, the way I show up, I do sometimes still feel like I'm in this small box of goofy women who physically, to society standards, we know opinions are different, but to society standards, is beautiful, successful, but you're goofy. You don't like to dress up every day. You don't do your makeup every day. Like, honestly, if I could walk out the house looking like a nut every day, I would.
Same.
Like, when I say so comfortable, like, I have no desire to beat my face every day. I have no desire to have my hair done every day. Granted, when I do have those days and it does happen, cool, I feel sexy, I feel good. But is that naturally my go-to as a woman? No. So I look at these other women that are like, I'm like, dang, like, she's always well put together. Her makeup, her hair, her nails, she has the outfits. She's doing a get ready with me. Like, she's in a relationship. Like, is that what guys like? Is that what, so to answer the question, it's not me, though. Even if I tried to do it, and I've had moments where I have tried. I'm like, this week I'm doing my makeup.
Yeah.
Every day I'm gonna do my makeup. I'm gonna take pictures. I'm gonna get ready. I'm miserable because it's not authentic to who Braylon truly is. So be yourself, you guys. That's the only way to show up and make it work. When you feel like you're an outcast, or I can say I have felt in my life or my career, or like in an outcast like bubble. Like, okay, I'm the goofy girl.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the sex kitten. I'm not the like my homegirl. Like, I always go to my homegirl. She's like, I be dancing for my man. Like, she'll turn on music for her man, do a dance. I'm like, I could not
I couldn't
imagine. I would start dancing like, so you want to have sex? I cannot do this.
Like, I'm just too like shy, low key for that.
But like, there's a part of me that wants to be that girl, and like, it can come out whenever. But I'm just saying, 99% of the time, that's not me. So I'm not going to force myself to conform to what I think feminine and sexy looks like. Like, my goofiness can be sexy to the right guy. Absolutely. My vulnerability can be sexy to the right guy. Me waking up with no makeup every day can be sexy to the right guy. Wearing sweats and just being chill can be sexy to the right guy. So the more you walk in your truth, the easier it will be for you to find your circle, for you to find your tribe, for you to find your environment. But these things can't come to you and find you when you're not being you.
Yes.
Like, you're literally attracting the way you show up. Like me, doing makeup, doing hair every day, wearing heels every day, these outfits. I need the Birkin, I need the Chanel, I need the, now I have name brand, but girl, I got Aldo too.
Yeah.
I got Steve Madden too. So all that, I'm showing up, I'm going to attract a certain type of man. I'm going to attract a certain type of friend. I'm going to attract a certain type of environment and space. And when you get in those environments and you're like, this is not me. And when you want to be your true authentic self, you're in an environment where you have had to keep up this facade. So it's just, you can't keep it up. It's too hard to keep it up. So my answer is, be you.
Yeah.
And the right people will find you, the right environment you'll be in, the right scenario, the right time, the right job opportunities. Like, people can't love and find the true you if you're not showing up as yourself in these rooms.
You are absolutely right.
So yeah, if there's certain things I still have to tweak about myself. Like, okay, when you are in a relationship, yes, you're going to have to be, date night. Like, let's get ready. Let's get dressed up. There's compromise, but I don't want to say that you have to, change who you are to your core. Yeah.
Trying to fit into a mold.
Yeah.
Because you think that that's what success would look like.
Yeah.
Or you think that's what acceptance would look like. Or you think that's what love would look like. Only leads you to being unhappy because you're not truly being yourself. There's like this trend on TikTok right now. And I think it's so interesting. And it's like, to be a woman is to perform. And it's like,
wow,
this trend of like,
that's so interesting.
It's so interesting. And it's like these like different examples or like whatever. And again, societal norms. Like, men have to perform too. Men who are very soft and vulnerable feel like they have to perform and be hard. You know what I'm saying? So like, everybody has to perform at some
point.
But I think societally, like, it's always, to your point, a woman has to be beautiful. She has to be put together. She has to have her hair, nails, makeup done in order to be feminine enough. And I struggled myself with, like, when I was younger, I was always super tomboy. Like, I always was like a little rough around the edges. Like, I'm still, but I do have this very like sensual side to me. Like, it's like a part, it's been ingrained in me forever. Like, it's just like a part of my energy. But I also do have this, like, I can hang with the guys type thing. So, like, even just, like, the way that I dressed. And, like, now, I'm, like, sometimes in all the tattoos, I'm, like, oh, my gosh, is that, like, so masculine? And I'm, like, but to your point, there's a man out there who will think that all the tattoos is feminine and sexy. Who will think that the grungy outfits are feminine and sexy. Like, there's... It's finding the right people instead of conforming yourself to what you think the right person would like.
So good. That's so good.
You're really, really good at that. And I feel like even in friendship with you, it's allowed me to, like, see myself in my authenticity. And, like, lean into it.
I love that.
Now, even doing this, I'm like, there's things that I just thought that I would never say, never do, never talk about. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, I am who I am.
This is my life.
I am who I am.
This is like your virtual diary.
My truth is my truth, like you say. It really is. And But it also that comes with finding community that allows you to
do
feel
it.
that way.
Yep.
And I feel like
Yep.
you've helped create that community. You're a part of that community for me. But I am really proud of you and just like the way that you show up authentically.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what? I'm gonna say it because it's my podcast and I can. Okay.
Hold on, what you gonna say?
I'm about to say some shit.
What?
No, I'm playing. She's scared. She's like, Bria, please. No, but for the people who be in her comments being haters, talking about I be
Isn't it so crazy how they don't know me?
To go to war in your comments.
All my friends do.
I really be ready.
Monica, like, she be like,
I be ready because I'm like, I cannot believe, like, you cried. This is her life, y'all.
Yeah,
like this is like very real. And to me, being just like a protective friend and being someone who knows you and admires you, I'd just be ready to fight anybody over you.
Yeah.
But I also realize that a lot of your truth is your truth, and not everybody needs to. People can only accept you in the ways that they can accept themselves.
And the people you're called to, I'm working on that now. I was just talking to Shekinah about it in the back. Like, a situation happened that didn't. I'm like, this is not the root of my insecurity. This is not the root of my validation issues. This is not it brought it up, but it's not the root of it. And now I thank God for that situation so I can look in the mirror and face the real issue.
Yeah.
The real issue. And like, focus on the people that love me. Yeah. Why are you so worried about the small percent that has something negative to say? Yeah. Why does it bother you so much what strangers think about you? Yeah. What do I think about you?
Yeah.
God is like, well, okay, who do I say you am? Yeah. Who do I say you are? Yes. Like, who are you to me? Who am I? Like, who? Focus on that. Yeah. So I'm getting better at that. And
you are.
Yeah, I am.
I'm like watching it.
Good.
Like in real time.
Good.
Like I've been seeing it and I know that I'm going to go on my own journey with this too.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I know I'm not for everyone.
Yeah.
And baby, to be honest, if I'm not for you, you're probably not for me.
Come on. So, that's so good.
At the end of the day, however you cut or slice it, if you find something that you don't like with me, you should really look inside yourself and see what it is about you that you need to heal, and vice versa.
And what in me is triggering that in you.
Exactly. Because the world is our mirror.
Yep.
So the things that irritate you is really just somebody, like whatever's irritating you about someone else is really just a trigger deep inside of you that tells you what you need to work on. And we talked about this in your episode. So
yeah.
I feel like all in all, you are a mogul.
Thank
you. You are a boss. You show up authentically in every room that you walk in. You belong in every room that you walk in. You've motivated me. You've motivated so many people. I'm so thankful to even like have you in my life and experience you, all cameras and stuff aside.
Yeah.
And I do think that it is commendable the way that you've built a career hosting at BET, opening for Martin Lawrence.
My God.
Like, you are that girl. You are that girl in an industry where all the odds are stacked against you.
Wow.
Where all the odds are stacked against you. To be a black woman in entertainment.
Nuts.
Braylon.
I know.
Like, you need your roses for really, truly, and y'all don't understand how hard this woman works. Like, I watch it. I'm like, I don't even understand how your head is on your shoulders.
Wow.
Right now, because you just be all the time, zooming.
I love it so much.
But you love it. It's right for you.
Yeah.
It's authentic to you.
It's authentic.
And so I just want to give you your flowers.
Thank you, baby.
The obstacles that you've overcome to get to where you are
are
absolutely commendable.
Thank
you.
I'm
so proud of you for doing it. And I'm excited for this next season in your life because I really think it's going to be your best yet. And I'm excited for you to just like continue to take over the industries that you're in. Because you're already getting you're hitting your stride.
Yeah.
I see it and I feel it. And I know that God has really good things aligned for you on the other side of this. So I just wanted to tell you that. And let everyone know that the B is for B Simone. The B is for boss. Because that is who she is. And I appreciate you being here.
Oh my gosh. I'm so proud of you. Y'all have no idea how difficult it is to take an idea like podcasting in a world and in a market that is super oversaturated right now.
Oversaturated.
5 years ago, 10 years ago, I mean, when social media was just starting out, like a decade ago, nobody was a content creator.
No.
Nobody. Everybody now
and their mothers and their grandmothers.
It's so much content. Have you guys ever come across a post that you liked before and you're like, when did I like this? Because you can't even remember seeing it.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's going in one ear, out the other. In one ear, out. It's going so fast because we consume so much content every day. So just for you to put your best foot forward and just try, like, I'm going to try this. Like, it's scary financially. Y'all, people that are starting podcasts, like, I have 6 million followers on Instagram. I have 4 million on TikTok. I have 1 million on YouTube. Let me tell you, I am not in the green in podcasting. The money goes right back into the podcast. I'm not like making thousands of dollars and going to buy a Birkin. I'm not making thousands of dollars and like going to buy bags and shoes and flying. No, like the money I make, I'm not in the red, but I'm basically breaking even because the money I'm making, I'm putting it back into the team. I'm putting back, we got 3 cameras right here. We got mics. So I'm saying that to say it's a major financial investment, not just time investment, not just like, you know, it's financially taxing. It's fear of comments, what people are going to say. Is it going to receive me?
A lot of the like stuff, like editing I'm doing myself.
That's crazy, Bria.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Because you know, I'm a nerd. I like to learn. So I want to like know how to do everything before I like,
you
outsource
delegate
it to someone.
So you can check them.
Yeah.
I'll be doing the opposite. I just delegate and I'm like, oh, okay.
Like,
the upload is a week late.
Yeah.
Oh, it must have been
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just have to listen to hope they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
But you're doing it the right way. But, you know, I wanted to give you your flowers and just say you're doing great. You're doing great. This is so cool. I cannot wait to see what it does, what we do together. I'm so happy to be here and support you. This is just really cool.
I'm very thankful for you.
And you're a great podcaster. You're a great interviewer. You did 3 interviews today. Yeah. And I'm like, you're just a great conversationalist. And I think that's what makes podcasting great. Like having your opinion, having your input on certain topics and being able to keep a conversation going, which podcasting has challenged me. Before I had a co-host. So I had somebody to pick up the slack. If I'm sleepy or drained or like somebody to jump in.
Don't know where to go next.
Don't know where, it's an awkward silence. They can jump in. But now it's like you're by yourself. Like being a good interviewer is important. And I've learned a lot. I've learned in the comments, people are like, stop talking over the guest. But I get so excited on the mic and I'm like, yeah girl, me too. They're like, be quiet. Let the guest. So I'm learning to okay, nod your head. Stop talking so much. You know, just little things. So I commend you on just trying.
Thank you.
You're just trying. And you didn't just try, you did. You delivered. It's not easy from a podcaster to a podcaster. This world.
It's not.
And then you're just even with you guys, you might see the numbers and see it as successful, but I'm still I have those moments where I'm like, this has to take off.
Yeah.
I know I'm doing well, but I'm not fuck. When is the big brand deals coming in? When is the $100,000 months coming in? I need some money. This is all coming out of my account.
For sure.
I don't have an investor. I don't have a man. I don't have, so
I feel you.
You're doing it.
Thank you.
You're doing it. I'm so proud of you. And this is going to be, I just love the idea. I love the name. It's just chef's kiss.
Thank you.
Chef's kiss, girl. When you told me the name, I was like, fire. My marketing brain. I'm like,
I know.
That's it. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is it.
Thank you for giving me the push. And at the end of the day, for people watching, especially coming from 2 people who have taken a lot of risks in life and done things that we didn't even think that we could do and ended up in rooms that we never thought we'd be in. Yeah. I think bet on yourself and double down.
That's it.
Bet on yourself.
Go time.
And double down. And success may not look the same in every avenue.
Yep.
And it may not feel the same in every
season.
Milestone.
Yep.
But there is something powerful about having a dream and following it.
Yeah. And it feels good when you do something and you take an idea and bring it to the natural realm. Yep. It's fire.
Yep. So,
yeah.
I appreciate you.
Oh, I love you. This
was
so good.
So much.
You better have stats, you little nerd. Bria is my nerd, boy.
I am a nerd, truly.
That's my girl.
My heart.
What? Tell them what you did on ChatGPT real quick before we go.
Okay. This is perfect timing, actually. Well, I think that AI is really cool. I think that there's a lot of people who have a lot of fear around AI, but I've done a lot of research on AI and it's not as scary as what y'all think. Just to let y'all know. Anyways, I think it's cool and I like to test it all the time.
I do too, though.
I'd be testing it and then I ask where its sources are from so I can go check myself, and sometimes it's wrong. So like, don't trust AI with everything.
Wow.
Okay. Like sometimes the sources that it's pulling from are not accurate sources. So like you still have to do your own research. But I asked ChatGPT, I said, I just want to see what it says. I said, from what you know about me, because ChatGPT logs information that you share with it, you have to log in, it creates an account for you, and then it remembers some of the personal information that you share to give you more curated responses. I asked ChatGPT, based on what you know about me and what you know about B Simone, what are topics that we should talk about on this podcast? Because I just wanted to see. Listen to what it said.
This is going to be nuts.
It's nuts. It says, with B Simone, there's a lot of great ground to cover in a podcast, especially her unique blend of comedy, entrepreneurship, and focus on self-love and growth. Here are some ideas for the episode. Ready? The journey to self-made success. B Simone has an inspiring story going from sleeping on the floor to building her brand, which resonates with many. Discuss the highs and lows of her journey and defining moments that pushed her forward.
Not a robot about to make me cry.
Oh, wait. It keeps going. It keeps going. Ready? 2. Confidence and authenticity in the public sphere. B Simone has a distinctive style and voice. You could explore how she balances being true to herself with handling public scrutiny. For both of you, what is it like being a Black woman and a Latina woman in the public eye? Ready? 3. Self-love and self-worth as a foundation for success. Both of you are advocates for self-love. This topic could be a deep dive into each of you, how each of you found self-worth, how foundation impacted your careers, relationships, overall well-being.
Wow.
The realities of being a woman in business, which is where this idea came from. Discuss the challenges navigating male-dominated industries, because we've both done so, just in different industries.
Wow. Manifestation
and vision. Since she's vocal about her belief in manifestation and goal setting, dive into what manifestation means for each of you. Right? Because I ask ChatGPT about a lot of manifestation stuff too. Empowering women and building community.
What?
You both have dedicated efforts to empowering women. Talk about what you're doing to make an impact, ways to lift women up, and what's essential to create supportive spaces. How?
Where did ChatGPT get all this information?
Isn't that nuts?
What?
Nuts.
And it's talking about me like it knows me. Like her vulnerability and her love for women. Like, what?
And then your comedy. And then it said, here would be a funny idea that you can do. Manifestation gone wrong. Have a laugh. Have a laugh about sharing funny or wild times where manifestation didn't go as planned.
No, that's real.
I'm like, we could talk about that another time. If y'all want to see that, let me know.
Let us know.
Got some good stories around that.
Like, I manifested a boyfriend. He was nuts.
And he was absolutely a lunatic.
Yeah.
And I manifested success.
Yeah.
And I done got some gray hairs and bald spot because of it. No, I'm just kidding. But I think, like, all in all,
that was
AI
cool.
is really cool. I think utilizing it for good, intention is everything, is powerful. But it's really cool to see what your footprint is online.
That's
and
amazing.
How it like gives you that. And the fact that even though there's a lot of noise,
that's what they pulled up.
It still sees the best that you are.
Wow.
Wild. So wild. So if any of y'all like any of those topics, let us know, because maybe we can come
episode.
Back. But this was such a good episode. I appreciate you so much. You.
This was so good.
Y'all make sure that, of course, go support her. Go follow the LTTA app.
Yes.
Go follow Let's Try This Again, her podcast.
Yes.
I've been on an episode before. Maybe I'll be on an episode
so
again
good.
someday.
Yes, you got to come back.
But all in all, give this woman her flowers.
Thank you.
She absolutely deserves it. I love you.
The B is
thank
for.
You for being here. The B is for. Appreciate y'all. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Good job, lady.
So good.